Some people chase their dreams. Ryuu Ichijou was his dream. A football prodigy, known even before high school. His footwork, vision, and spirit were behind his years. The kind of player you build a future around. But in one split second, far from the roar of a stadium, that future shattered. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the comeback story of Ryuu Ichijou. So this video contains spoilers about the story. If you haven't read B Blues yet, make sure to read it before this video or just enjoy the video. They called him a genius, not casually, not as a compliment, but as a certainty. Every time Ryuu Ichijou touched the ball, there was silence. The kind of silence that only comes when people know they are witnessing something rare. Even before middle school, Ryuu was a legend in his region. His goals were clear, his game was major, and his skills were years ahead of his age. A boy not only dreamed big, but built the steps to reach those dreams carefully, relentlessly. He was flashy, he was loud, but he was also precise, calm and focused. He lived only for football, and football responded to him like a loyal friend. But he was more than just a solo star. His presence made others better, his confidence radiated, and his charisma brought teammates in sync. Even in junior high, his actions showed who he was. Recovering from exhaustion, pain, setbacks, always with the same composed look in his eyes. He kept smiling, he kept moving. To his friends, he seemed unshakable. To his opponents, unapproachable. To everyone else, unstoppable. But fate doesn't ask how hard you worked. It doesn't care how much you love something. It just hits. And when it does, it hits the brightest ones hardest. It didn't happen in the game. It wasn't a rival's tackle or a torn muscle under the stadium lights. It happened on a quiet street. After a game, Ryuu and his best friends Yuta and Yuki were walking home. A car came fast. Ichijou stepped into the road, Ryuu launched forward, pulling him out of the way, and they both fell down a long flight of concrete stairs. Yuta got away with some minor injuries. Ryuu didn't. His pelvis was shattered. The doctors didn't mince the words, "You should be thankful if you can walk again." It didn't happen chasing a goal, it happened while saving a friend. A prodigy, broken in a heartbeat. After the accident, Yuta couldn't speak to Ryuu. He couldn't even step into the hospital room, because in his mind, he had killed Ryuu's future. How could he face the friend who was meant to go pro, but now couldn't even walk anymore? This wasn't just Ryuu's injury, it was Yuta's shame. He avoided him for days, until his sister, Yuki, forced him to visit, told him that Ryuu didn't blame him, that Ryuu needed him. When he finally walked into that hospital room, all he could do was cry. He apologized over and over again, but Ryuu never once showed resentment. That's just who he was, caring, forgiving, even when he had every right to feel anger. Time after time, Yuta would drag him into chaos, and every time Ryuu would offer him a hand instead of a grudge. But it was the same the other way around. Whenever Ryuu had problems or struggled, Yuta was always the first one to help him. Recovery wasn't just slow, it was humiliating. A boy who once danced with the ball like gravity didn't apply, now struggled just to stand. His body had grown, but it no longer moved the way it used to. The coordination, the timing, the smell of the goal, it was gone. It wasn't just physical. Every step down the staircase became a quiet battlefield in his mind. The trauma never left. He would only descend if Yuki or Yuta was nearby. While others trained for tournaments, Ryuu had to learn how to walk again without pain. He endured the pain, the loneliness, the doubt. He watched football on TV, not with jealousy, but hunger. 2 whole years. No goals, no crowds, no football. Just the echo of what could have been. Most would have stopped. Ryuu didn't. If his body couldn't keep up, his mind would carry him. He studied the game like a scientist, rewinding, rewatching, breaking down every detail. He started over, not chasing past glories, but slowly sinking his new body to his old instincts. He built a plan, step by step, measured, relentless, and when he returned, he was different. Not lesser, smarter, sharper. He wasn't just chasing a dream anymore. He was earning it, painfully, step by step. Just as his form returned, life threw him another curveball. His father was transferred to Indonesia for 3 years. His mother begged Ryuu to go with them, afraid of losing her own son again. For Ryuu, this wasn't just a move. It was a choice between the family who supported his darkest years and the dream that had once been taken away. He agreed to leave, but his teammates wouldn't accept it. They swore to push for nationals, to give Ryuu one last chance. Because Ryuu had carried them for years, now they wanted to return that, and it was their turn. And they made sure that it will work. Ichijou had lived with guilt for too long, but Ryuu never showed blame, only trust. And eventually, that trust was shown in the most Ryuu-like way possible, a pass. In the final game, in Ichijou, he scored the goal to seal their comeback. Ryuu passed the ball to Ichijou, the same way he had once passed to Kuze Tatsuhiko before his accident. A moment, small in execution, but huge in meaning. That pass meant that Ryuu finally regained his rhythm, his touch, his faith, and more than that, he was telling Ichijou, "I always believed in you." People noticed, they always did. And his grandfather said Ryuu had fully returned. His play is now as smooth and devastating as they were before. Kuze Tatsuhiko admitted he had feared Ryuu would change, but Ryuu didn't change. He was the same, even stronger than before. And Mirko Kovac, a man who had seen the best, said Ryuu held the vessel to become football's king. Everyone who saw him, whether they loved football or not, remembered the name Ichijou Ryuu. Ryuu Ichijou is often called a prodigy, but that's not quite right. He wasn't just a boy born to be great. He was a boy who refused not to be. He was confident, but cautious, caring, but stoic. He forgave easily, laughed deeply, and only came alive when the ball was at his feet. Football was his entire world. Everything else, a blur. He wasn't perfect. He was stubborn, serious, and too earnest for his own good. But his strength wasn't just in his skill. It was in his mindset, his resilience, his ability to fall, break, lose everything, and come back greater. He didn't just return. He surpassed himself, and in doing so, he reminded us that the greatest comeback stories aren't written in stadiums. They are written in silence, in pain, in steps no one sees.